Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Today we are going to be creating a totally flat shaker card, so no foam needed. And I am first going to start off by creating one of the elements to the card just because I need it to dry. So I am starting off using some spun sugar and some squeezed lemonade distressed oxide ink. It's just from the Reinkers, but you could use the ink pads or any other inks that you have. And I just want to kind of smush them together to create just a light yellow, pinky, orange background piece. And I will die cut some shapes out of this later on. I am speeding up the drying process in between some of the smushing just so that it will layer up nicely. So now I'm going to start putting together the shaker card, and I have a 110-pound Neenah Solar White card base on the left, and on the right I have an 80-pound piece of Neenah Solar White, and I'm just die cutting out a rounded corner frame die from the center of that piece, and then I want to do exactly the same on the front of my card base because I want it to kind of go right through to the middle of the card. So because I need them to line up perfectly, I'm just putting the die straight back on top of that one so that they are in exactly the same place. And now you can see I kind of have the base of it, but it does look a little bit funny. But what I'm going to do to combat the fact that I don't want people to be able to see what is written in the inside, I don't want the writing on the inside to kind of spoil the look of the card from the outside. So I'm going to use this little dotted embossing folder, and I have embossed some vellum. And that will kind of give us enough blurring that you won't be able to see what is on the inside. So, time to put it all together. This is going to take a little bit of double-sided tape. You could probably use liquid glue for this, but I honestly just find a nice, strong double-sided tape is the best option here. So you can see I need to cut down my little vellum piece because the card measures 4 1/4 by 5, but the hole in the middle of the card base is much smaller than that. So I've trimmed it up and taken off all the release paper, and now I'm putting down my embossed vellum piece so it's nice and dotty, and you can see kind of the beginning of what it's going to look like. And then just before I add in the shaker elements, I'm going to get everything kind of ready. So I'm going to put another layer of double-sided tape around the outside of this card. Again, this is all hidden by the frame, remember? And then you need to use and choose your shaker elements. So I am going for some Iridescent Sequins here, and they are kind of clear, but they kind of look pink in this light. And you do obviously want something that is relatively flat because we are making a flat shaker card. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be perfectly flat because these sequins aren't at all, but I'm also going to use some little tiny beads from Alina Crafts on AliExpress, and I'm going to use those as well in the pink. And so I'm pouring these very gently in the middle, and I took off all of the release paper first so that I wouldn't bump them at all, and then I'm putting down a piece of acetate. And then I have left in this little sound clip so that you can hear exactly how good this shaker card sounds. Because even though it's flat, it still has a really cool shaker sound to it, and that is important when you are making a shaker card. And of course, having those tiny little beads really does make it worth it, and it creates all that lovely extra sound as well. So anyway, now we are going to cover up this kind of bit of double-sided tape mess, and this is the 80-pound Neenah Solar White one that we cut out at the very beginning. So I think it's really fun to make a shaker card where there's no foam and no bulk. It will go through the mail perfectly, nothing will be squished. So yeah, that was my plan to make today, and I definitely feel like I love this style of shaker card. But anyway, here is the panel that we made earlier on, and I'm just going to cut out a little butterfly from it. And this is the one of the 4 butterflies that came in a set from AliExpress as well. Then I have got that frame die, and I actually am using the proper frame here. Now I chose to use some silver mirror cardstock. You could use whatever you want. You could even use a nice light pink color, but I was going with the kind of silver theme here. It kind of looks darker in the video than what it really is for me, but that's okay. And then I have these 2 foliage dies here, which I'm going to cut out of some white cardstock, and then I'm also going to cut them out of some of the silver mirror cardstock, just because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted. And I'm going to add these onto the card. Now, yes, this does create a little bit more bulk, but it will all flatten out perfectly well if and when I send it through the mail. So I'm not really too worried about that. It's certainly not as bulky as if I would have had to have used foam tape on the shaker card. So it's a relatively flat card, and actually at the end I will show you the side view of the card, and you'll be able to see just how there's no bulk to this card at all. So I'm using some glue dots from Alina Crafts on AliExpress, and these are kind of perfect for adhering these things down onto the acetate. And I'm just kind of adding a few here and there. I don't really have a rhyme or a reason. I just want a little bit of foliage there. And then I have cut this butterfly out of the orange, yellow and pink one that we made at the beginning. And sorry I go off screen here, but I also die cut out one of the butterflies in the silver mirror cardstock, and I have just simply laid them one on top of the other, and that is going to be stuck in the corner there on top of that foliage. And then to finish it all off, I have a sentiment die from Ali, a happy birthday one, and I have cut that out in silver mirror cardstock as well. And I also have some stickered adhesive on the back, so it just basically turns it into a sticker, and I'm going to pop that into the middle. I really love how this card turned out, and I hope that you guys give a no bulk flat shaker card a go. They are definitely really fun, and they still have all of those awesome elements of a shaker card. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your amazing comments that you guys are leaving me. I love reading them, and I appreciate that you take the time to write them for me, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, bye.